Hey everyone. With the climate debate being a very hot topic in an ever evolving debate, I wanted to come in and point out some things that most people don't talk about when talking about climate change. This is a NOAA article, and I want you to read the first two lines. Solar influences on global change has emerged as a interesting field of study, especially since the Nimbus satellite documented the inconsistency of the solar constant. Now, the solar constant is used to come up with total solar irradiance. So let's take a look at the factors of climate forcing. So here we have the various factors, some of which aren't listed here for the actual climate forcing. This is radiative forcing components. But climate forcing also includes the Milankovitch cycles and the grading of Earth's axis. Now, what we see here is basically the importance of each factor. And this is their graph showing the watts per square meter effect from all these factors. The problem is that as you see, TSI, total solar irradiance, is set at a constant of 1,380 watts per square meter. This is a problem when knowing that the solar constant is no longer a constant and their calculations must change. Now, the problem with climate change and trying to understand what the sun does to Earth's climate and the various factors that result is not just a one factor steady constant. The way they've done these calculations in the past aren't including the newer studies on the sun. And if I can try to remember this correctly, with the math that they do, they use sine in their calculation because they were thinking that the sun has a single main magnetic field. But newer research by Valentina Zarkova, she uses cosine for the main magnetic field and the background poloidal and toroidal field that creates a magnetic field. And this is how she's been able to have a 97% accuracy rating on her calculations of the past 400 years of temperature on Earth. Inconsistencies of the solar constant. This is from NOAA, and this is from 2015 to pretty recently. And you'll see that the average temperature anomaly is trending downward. It is not global warming, it is trending global cooling. And this is what the media won't tell you. They're going to keep on hyping global warming. In the same time period, CO2 concentrations in the atmosphere are increasing at a pretty steady rate. How can that be? If it's trending downward, right? U.S. average temperature anomalies also trending downward. North America average temperature anomalies also trending downward. The source is NOAA. Now here is Valentina Zarkova's research. Here is the main magnetic field and background poloidal field components, the two principal components. And you'll see sometimes they correlate and sometimes there's a negative correlation that will eventually turn into a disruptive interference wave to near zero, causing the sun to decrease in activity abruptly. And here you see the near zero, the summary curve of the two that will result near zero. Here is also the summary curve near zero, modulus summary curve. This paper, or if people Google Valentina Zarkova, one of the first things they run into is called skepticalscience.com. And for some reason, everybody latches onto that one.com piece on Valentina Zarkova. So they think that just debunks the over 200 papers that this woman has published in her very long career that was funded by the U.S. Air Force, by NASA, by many European countries, including the UK, of which is where she is teaching now. She is a professor. She has a degree in solar physics and applied mathematics, which is why she knows how to do the math. And this is her predictions from 1200, which shows all the minimums in between, the modern minimum, Wolf minimum, and then the modern minimum that we'll be going through between 2032 and 2050. Well, it's actually 2020 to 2052 or something, somewhere around in there. But the worst part will be in between 2030 and 2042. And then there'll be another one in 2300. No one on the planet has been able to do this. No one besides Valentina. Because she has done the work with the sun. So here we have Tmax, temperature max. It is measured at the hottest part of the day. And then you have solar total irradiance in red. Not only do you have the total correlation of the graph, but you also will see some negative correlations in between. Same thing with Canada. Same thing with Mexico. These graphs line up much better than CO2. The problem is the scientists aren't going to be honest with you about this. Here you see the two graphs of the temperature and the sunspots. Major point of this is you'll see around the time frame of 1950, there was a decline in sunspots, which coincides with the temperature decrease. And then it increased again all the way up to 2000s, which we see another increase right there. And it is now going back down again, of which the temperature data is showing. Schindel et al. This is how the sun affects Earth's temperature more than total solar irradiance, right here. This is one of them, of many, of which I'll get into. Schindel et al. States that changes in UV light makes changes to the amount of ozone that's created, which makes changes in planetary atmosphere waves, of which affect the jet streams. That, in fact, changes the climate on the planet when the jet streams change, as we've seen with the polar vortexes and all that. Solar forcing of regional climate changes during the Maunder minimum. During the Maunder minimum, it was about a 1 degree change. It got colder during that minimum on the planet. Ozone formation and destruction from UV light. UV light produces ozone. When less UV light is sent out from the sun, then less ozone is created. When less ozone is created, then that changes planetary atmospheric waves. The radiative effects of ozone modulate the planetary waves and correspondingly their influence on the mean flow. Planetary Rossby waves. By ionizing the air, cosmic rays, galactic cosmic rays, this is another way that the sun affects Earth's climate. By ionizing the air, cosmic rays help to form aerosols that may grow into cloud condensation nuclei, required for water droplets to condense and create low-altitude clouds. So there is a negative correlation between the solar cycles and galactic cosmic ray levels inside the solar system. So as the sun's magnetic field decreases, this allows more cosmic rays to come in, of which the last few decades we've seen a major increase in galactic cosmic rays. So that causes cloud nucleation. What also occurs is as these galactic cosmic rays are coming in and causes scattering in the atmosphere, muons are created that penetrate the planet, and it increases volcanic activity and releases. Those releases, the sulfur and the particulates in those releases, cause cloud nucleation to increase, which changes the albedo of the planet. That is yet another way the sun's magnetic field from the sun controls the variations of galactic cosmic rays coming into the planet and creating clouds. That is from the sun. That originates by the sun and the strength of the magnetic. Cosmic rays and the weakening solar cycle. The weaker solar cycle leads to an increase in cosmic rays and a reduction in astronaut duration. This is why they're not traveling, because the cosmic rays have increased, which limits their time in space. It is much dangerous in space now than it was back when they were going out in space all the time. Absolutely. And you'll notice they're pointing out these Dalton minimum and the Gleisenberg. These are variations, different cycles. So climate forcing has more to do with the sun than what they are telling you. It is more than total solar irradiance. And when you factor all this information in, it completely changes the whole aspect of climate change. People that challenge this have never studied all this stuff together. It takes all this to understand the entire system, and most people aren't doing this learning of how this stuff works. There's more going on to this than meets the eye, and we need to come to terms with that. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you watching. Thank you for your time. Please comment down below what you think. Please like and subscribe. I do a lot of work and try to bring you guys information that is vital at understanding many subjects. Hope this helps, and thanks for watching. All right.